Welcome back once again to GIT 2021, the 7th International James and Jury Conference. And next is the last session of the day, the oral presentations. Please give a big round of applause to Vincent Pardieu. He's here for the topic of gem mining and challenges associated with ethics and responsibilities. Please give a big hand.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me correctly? Okay. First, I would like to thank the GIT to have given me the opportunity to speak today and to have given me this very challenging subject. So my talk today will be about gem mining and challenge associated with ethics and responsibility. So there is one sentence and one quote that I like to start with that talk. And this is something that I keep in my mind every time I go to the field to visit gem mine. It's something from Mark Aurelius. He was a Roman emperor, and he was dealing from Rome with the rule of a huge empire. And what he says is, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. And everything we see is just a perspective, not the truth. So since 2004, I travel around the world to visit a gem mining area in order to collect a reliable reference specimen, mainly from the gem lab. This is what I call field gemology. And actually, I had been very privileged for the past 20 years to have visited hundreds or thousands of mines from small scale to large scale. And thanks to that, I was able to get a kind of interesting perspective about the realities in the field. So soon I will leave in about 1 week to my 152nd field expedition. So in 2011, at the ICA Congress in Rio, I finished my talk with the following slide. I was saying that there is just a huge potential to associate our gems and our industry with the good guys. And the danger is, if we do nothing, the danger is that other people might associate our industry with a bad one. So the fact is that the gem industry is providing a living for millions of people around the world and is producing beautiful objects that many other people will enjoy. But also, our industry is far from being perfect, and this was well noticed by some activists or journalists with often not very friendly agendas. So, in 1998, there was this report from Global Witness, which is an activist group, and this report has an important impact because this led to the Kimberley process that started 5 years later in 2003. So the Kimberley process was basically the answer of the diamond industry to that report. Then in 2007, there was something different. There was a saffron revolution in Myanmar that people call Burma. And at this time, as a result, Burmese rubies were banned from entry in the US with the Tom Lantos Act in 2008 and also in the EU. That had also major impact on the gem trade. Because of that, buyers rushed to Africa in order to find an alternative source for gemstone. So this is basically thanks to that event that many people from Canterbury started to go to Tanzania and then to Mozambique in order to buy stones. Then, more recently in 2016, there was something that, again, from Global Witness, that was not too much noticed here in Thailand, because it's not about a stone that is coming too much in Thailand, but Global Witness issued a report on lapis lazuli. There was some repercussion in France because some company decided to stop buying lapis lazuli because of that. But more recently, Global Witness also started to issue a report on jade in, I think, June 2021, and very recently on rubies, about last month. So today, we are living in an age of social media. With the growth of internet and social media, publishing is often more about expressing an opinion, a perspective, what is that? Okay. An emotion, than establishing or even seeking for the truth. On social media, most stories are proposed in a very short and simplified manner. Good versus bad, ethical versus less ethical, or sometimes just, well, this is beautiful and that's it. So it's a paradise now for a keyboard warrior playing with emotion, looking for exposure, on which business is more about pointing fingers and creating walls than creating bridges and finding practical solutions. So should we speak about our industry, should we be careful about ethics and responsible business practice? Our industry is about selling dreams and sensation. You had several talks before me telling about that. But for the past 20 years, gem mining has regularly collided with people trying to protect nature. So you have on the right a report from WWF about Madagascar in 2012, speaking about artisanal mining in a protected area and trying to build a response toolkit. And then, following 2009, you had some discovery of ruby in a reserve in Mozambique, and people in that reserve fell under attack from the gem trade, and this led to a report from the Global Initiative Against Transnational Crime that is interested into poaching and things like that, and in which they associated gem mining with this international crime network. So this is not without consequence, as when we collide with some other industry, we are creating enemies, and sometimes they can be very powerful. So following that, you had several other events, and I would like to show you an example about how these things are going. This is one of the covering about a discovery of sapphire in a protected area in Madagascar in 2016. First, you had The Guardian with the title, "Sapphire Rush Threaten Rainforest of Madagascar." Few days later, another journalist wrote, "New sapphire rush in Madagascar may threaten rare species." 1 year later, another journalist, because he has to tell a different story, come with how the sapphire trade is driving lemurs toward extinction. That's not great PR for the gem trade. So then you have this very interesting statement, because this area is under the protection of a very powerful NGO based in Washington. And you can see at the end, there is this line, this NGO is asking help to France and government because they are under attack. It's not coming, the help will not come in the next few hours, but they are asking people to support them, to study our industry, and to retaliate. So just have a look at what is this NGO. Conservation International, the chairman is Harrison Ford. And you can see on their basically campaign, marketing campaign, they have the voice of so many people in Hollywood. We don't really want these people to be against sapphire and sapphire mining. But if we go too far, this is maybe what will going to happen. So I come back to that slide. Should we, as an industry, be careful about ethics and responsible business practice? Yeah, our industry is selling dream and sensation. But recent history shows that it's very dangerous, in my opinion, to damage the dream of the others. I don't know if you know that lady, but before that lady, the fur industry was very powerful. And that lady, with another activist, they just bring them to the ground. So what is the response of the industry so far to all these things? Well, many companies decided to mind their own business, ignoring the journalists or the activists in order not to give them a stage, not to give them any importance, or not to give them any credibility, or simply they just didn't want it to be the next target, because if you start to speak, you might become the next target. Then some other company hired lawyers sustainability, CSR, responsible sourcing experts in order to protect themselves by improving themselves, their company, and put also in place better business practice and standard. So you had a group like OECD or RGC. Now, can anything be done about unfair attack in our industry, against our industry? So let's come back to this thing about that was published in 2017 on National Geographic. How the sapphire trade is driving lemurs toward extinction. That was in March in March number 6. Now, if you go to the website, you will find that the title is different. It's about how illegal mining is threatening imperial lemurs. So they changed the title. Why they changed the title? Because I published a paper based on the 3 expeditions that I had there, and I published a paper in which I counter all the facts that they were, the so-called facts that they were presenting. And because of that, they changed few things in the article, including the title. Of course, they say that they were right, and, but at the end, the thing that people see on internet now is not basically as bad as it was in March 2006. And it was a lie. The sapphire miners there were not bringing lemurs towards extinction. Not at all. There were lemurs on site, there were lemurs around the site, but it's basically farming and the destruction of habitat that is doing that, not sapphire miners. So that small victory shows one thing. To me, it shows one thing interesting. When good data is available, it is possible to expose the truth and ask for an article to be edited or possibly removed. The problem is, good data about gem-producing area are rare. On this one, it happens that I visited the area 3 times and I collected a lot of data, so I was able, but it took me about 1 month of work in order to do that. So, my point is, PhD studies about gemstone mining areas or peer-review articles by independent academics would be very useful if they were available. But to my knowledge, a PhD on geography about a gem mining area, there was only one that was done in 2010 by a French guy from the University of Bordeaux. That's it. And it's in French. Nobody can read it, except French-speaking people. So my point is that our industry is not perfect, and it has become regularly the target of hostile people. We must improve, and in that regard, many positive things were getting done. And we have to collaborate even with the people who know less, and who basically also attack the industry. But in order to do that, I think that our industry has not done enough to help the production of solid data about the positive impact that our industry has on society, and especially in gem-producing areas. So the gem industry needs PhD, of course, in geology and analytical chemistry, but it will be great to have also some people with PhD in geography, social science, or human science who get an interest about gem mining area, on the gem mining industry, on the gem industry in general. But I don't see many. And that's too bad, because today we will have need this thing. If they would have been done 20 years ago, that would have been great, but we don't have them today. So let's remember, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact, and people are going with opinion everywhere over the internet. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. I don't have the truth, I just have my perspective. And in that battle for public opinion, more than ever, we need to associate our gems with the right people in order to be not to be associated with a bad one. So what we need to do as an industry in order to improve? We need to continue to promote good practice, of course. We need to make new friends instead of new enemies. And then I think we should support the production of studies and publication showing that our industry not only produce beautiful objects and nice geological paper about iron, chromium, and color of gemstone, but also that it improves society and the lives of many people. Thanks for your time and your attention. And if that paper, this type of paper were produced, you could use them in order to educate your customer, your friends, and all the people who are attacking our industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for the informative talks, and please be seated. Thank you so much.